you find it again after that.
The wax always stays separate.
I think you'd get soup. Can I watch you sometime?
Sure, that's how Olympia learned.
Where should I set this?
Here, Sharon, I'll take it. I'm glad you're so interested. I had thought you weren't into the things we do around here.
You mean because I had a date that night when you...
Oh no, of course not, Sharon. I'm sure Philip will be glad to show you everything he showed me. Well, go on, everybody. Take your choice. There's a candle here for everyone in the commune. The bitty one is for Roseanne.
My, they're gorgeous. Who could blame Sharon for wanting to learn to make them? I'd like to learn myself.
I wasn't exactly intending to start a school.
That's an idea.
They're so colorful. These are out of sight, Philip.
Olympia made them.
You mean she didn't just watch you?
I watched Philip shape two, then I melted those down and started again on my own.
She's a fast learner.
Get the books now, Dan.
Unfortunately, everyone knows what the next surprise is.
I don't.
No one's actually seen the finished product. Let's see how they came out.
Looks far out.
Metamorphoses. Illyria Street Commune. What is this?
The first genuine commune production, created by communards at every single stage.
Aren't these Philip's vases?
Those are printed reproductions of photographs of Philip's objects.
It's a record of the finite portion of the infinite metamorphoses of an initial given quantity of raw matter.
I see. I think.
Olympia photographed Philip's objects before he melted them down again to make other objects with a different combination of the same materials with other processes. At least that's how I understand it.
Ben wrote poems for some of the objects and edited Philip's technical texts explaining some of the processes. Dan typeset all of the textual material and we printed it at the cooperative print shop run by Steve's friends.
Olympia and Barry did the printing.
Barry worked on this? He never told me anything.
Maybe he wanted one person to be surprised.
I'm sorry we're so late.
You're just in time for the biggest surprise.
Barry's been telling me about it. It's unbelievable. I never expected anything like this to happen when I advertised rooms here 3 years ago. Did you, Philip?
It's very well reproduced, considering it's only in 2 dimensions. Did you see this grayish outline? It's the shadow cast by this elevation located at the opposite extremity.
I was sure you'd be pleased, Philip.
I should hope so. It's beautiful.
Hey, Sharon, what's happening?
Nothing at all, Barry. You don't even live here, and you know more about what's going on than I do. Why didn't you tell me about this book?
Busy, Sharon. Busy.
Isn't it your turn now, Maddie?
Mine's going to seem so plain compared to what you all did.
It's the valleys that make the peaks.
Oh, Dan, it's the first one I actually finished.
Did I say valleys were bad?
Well, there it is. I'm not sure it's worth sharing.
You finished it.
I rushed to get it done by the time the brochure was printed.
Your technique has really improved.
It's obvious why you picked that subject.
It's nearly a perfect reproduction, Maddie.
I've been saving a little surprise of my own.
Ooh, what is it?
Hey, it's poetry.
Who's the cool lady?
Do you know the Italian word for lady?
It's also clear from her sumptuous rooms, plant-cluttered window, precious garden.
Conspiratorial smile.
I'm gonna kiss you, Ben.
That's what I hoped you'd do when I wrote it.
I'm gonna cry.
I've been saying something too. We're the commune.
Good for you, Sharon.
They're no longer mine to give, the rooms, the window, the garden, and they were all I had to give.
There's still the smile. That'll always be yours to give.
You're sweet.
I think it's really nice for a person to be able to make this kind of gift to another.
I think the poem is as corny as the conversation, but I certainly am surprised. The cool lady. Ben, I thought you and your newspaper preached the liberation from wage labor.
I thought so too.
Donna, how long have you worked in your office?
I guess it's going on 5 years, but I don't understand what that...
Have you ever thought of quitting?
I can't imagine what I'd do with myself. The company organizes my time better than I ever could. Why do you...
I was asking Ben about his paper.
It's not very cool, Olympia.
Maddie, can Lisa spend the night here?
Can I, Mommy?
Actually, I think it's time for us to leave.
You can't leave. I brought you something.
Oh, all right, Lisa, but don't be too rowdy.
I'm sorry I missed it all. Grover and his friends insisted that we all try samples of everything. Oh, is this a brochure? It looks great. Maddie, you finished the crib.
And you probably want to know why.
If you could paint something imaginary with as much realism, it would really be out of sight.
Olympia gave us each a candle.
And Ben wrote me a poem. Could one give anything nicer?
I bet I could. That's why I dragged Grover in. I wanted to give him.
Give him what?
Don't play dense, Philip. Doesn't anyone get it? I'm giving him. I've kept him to myself all these years through no fault of my own, and now I'm sharing him.
Going twice, going 3 times, sold, the left arm goes to the lady in the back row, and now the head, do I hear a nickel?
Stop clowning, Grover. Why is this so obscure? It's a gift-giving day, so I'm giving Grover. I mean, he's the gift. I'm giving him to everyone, to the commune.
But why? Or what for? What does it do? Sing? Lay eggs?
I've never in my life.
You're keeping something from us, Tony. Are you asking us to reintroduce cannibalism?
I'll be damned if I'm not on the verge of tears. I've been raving to Grover about the only bunch of genuine radicals in the world, the only ones who didn't treat a person as some kind of thing. And all you want to know is what the thing is for and how it tastes? I'm not reintroducing cannibalism. You're the cannibals.
Worse, Tony. 10,000 years of progress worse.
Grover is my best outside friend and my resource person, and it's thanks to him that I always have free pot and...
Say, what kind of farm did you take the kids to?
We've been to a cabbage farm. That's what it says on the sign, head cabbage. And that's all you'll see growing when you drive up to it either way. But that cabbage is for the pigs. The cabbage for the heads is Michoacan and Acapulco Gold and Colombian.
Are those the brands of marijuana you had Alec sample?
Man, that's the only kind of farm I'd ever want to get close to.
Why haven't you brought him around here before, Tony?
That, my man, was executed at my request. Why would you want to weld a U-Haul to your car when you were pulling it all right with a hitch and chain?
I don't get it.
Look, my man, the connection, to be on the safe side.
Why did you want to be on the safe side?
Now we're getting to the historical nitty-gritty, as my business associates call it. The fact is, it's not just the pot that's being watched nowadays. Anyone that even looks like someone from a commune has 5 investigators assigned to him at every airport in the country. Remember the French Revolution of 1968? Well, me and this other dude ram M38s across the border, and our compañeros on the loyalist side shot the bodies of priests full of holes and burned Notre Dame to the ground. Now, if the pigs ever added 2 plus 2 together, they'd get the connection. Dig?
I thought not a single shot was fired in France in '68.
That's what everyone thought. But that was the most successful media blitz in history. The news was kept under such tight control that even the compañeros themselves didn't know that those large bricks they kept passing each other were actually crates loaded with machine guns.
The first thing you should all know about Grover is that he's a terrific storyteller, but he's got contacts all over the city who can make his stories come true. When I told him what Steve had done with our phone and electricity,
I figured, why stop with the corporations, my man? The state's the biggest corporation of them all, and Agnew is up there in the vanguard, raising our consciousness about some of the possibilities.
Don't you mean Nixon?
Didn't you know, Ben? The vice president was found guilty of defrauding the government of several $1,000s. I thought you followed these things.
I do, but not up close.
You know what's even better than free phone and electricity? Listen to this. I know this lawyer who could rig up papers, and they'd look like the cabbages on this farm, everything legal from the road. But don't invite your neighbors for lunch. I'm not talking about paying no tax on this building. I'm talking about negative tax. About getting huge checks from the government, refunds, like when you run your gas meter backwards with a vacuum cleaner.
I think your friend is hilarious.
he's hardly gotten started yet. Grover could help that typesetting co-op get off the ground.
Really? In what way?
Without exaggerating, I'd estimate that every radical in this town goes through me for one thing or another, and they're the wordiest people you'd hope to find.
But how could we make contact?
Easiest thing in the world, my man. Next time a dude starts telling me about his newest theory, I'll just ask if I can borrow it so as to get an estimate. That way, you can decide if it's up your alley before taking it on. Dig? I could keep a whole room full of you at your machines round the clock.
Oh, wow. From rags to riches.
It's very moving. Did you do it?
I intended it as my gift to the commune.
When did you bring this in, Sharon? I've never seen anything like it. It's fantastic.
I understand some of you are into the business of repairing the four-wheeled life preservers marketed by Ford and General Motors. Say, do you have something to soothe a parched throat? Something a little stronger than beer?
Come with me and pick out what you want, Grover. Yes, we're into fixing cars.
You can really paint.
It's all of you who did it to me, doing all kinds of things you've never done before.
Have you honestly never painted before? This is so powerful it stands off the canvas.
It's not even canvas. When I started, I didn't know.
It's so naively expressive, so perfectly unspoiled. Have you seen it, Philip? She had to quit school to express herself like that. If she'd stayed 2 more years, they would have squeezed it out of her, boxed her imagination, conventionalized her perception.
It certainly is original. I think it's good.
Admit that it's good in spite of what she was taught in school.
Was Sharon educated on samples of 5 different brands of marijuana?
You're evading the issue, Philip.
I thought you wanted to be an actress, Sharon. How do you find time to develop your acting and also to paint?
I don't know, Olympia, but I know that every morning I wanted to go on until it was finished. I even got up before dawn.
Oh, Sharon, the paint is already cracking. Any number of people could have showed you how to mix paint properly.
You're right. I didn't have time to learn all that. Once I started, I wanted to give all my time to it, and my job became unbearable. I set my alarm for 6 hours after I reached bed, and I rushed up every morning.
Don't get so excited, Sharon. You'll knock something over.
Oh, how could you, Sharon? This is a sheet of paper stapled to a frame.
Hey, Steve, come here a second. This dude Grover says he could get us cheap car parts. The garage would have it made.
I could use a strong drink.
When I started, I didn't even know there was a right way to do it.
There isn't.
I just started the painting on the back of one of Barry's travel posters, but after a point it started to curl so bad I almost gave up. The man who sold me the easel showed me how to mount canvas to a frame, but by then I loved what was here. I just stapled the poster to the frame. The paint cracked when the sheet flattened, but I liked that so well I was intending to start with another travel poster.
But part of the painting curves around the frame and continues on the back and has staples going through it.
I thought it was honest to let the painting tell how it became the way it was.
Tony, your friend sure is a bullshit artist. I don't see why everyone's so taken in.
He's a blabbermouth, and probably dangerous. He admitted he was a dope dealer.
You have the impression he won't come through with the typesetting, Olympia?
Don't worry about that. He'll come through.
Even if he does, is that the kind of basis we want? What do you think, Ben?
He uses the word business an awful lot. Garage business, typesetting business.
Oh, Olympia, why are you winding Ben up on that track? I thought we'd resolve that, and it's the first time I actually have a prospect of quitting that bank job.
I made tea for everybody that wants some.
I picked up from Tony that you people were into some fancy shit, but I never expected anything like this. You're Olympia, right?
Yes, but...
You probably know this without my telling you, but there isn't a painting can hold up a candle to this in any gallery in town. This is post-naive, post-abstract expressionism, post-everything.
Tea, anyone?
I'll have some.
Me too, Barry.
The only painter I know who did anything like this is Kahlo, that Mexican woman who outlived her husband Diego Rivera. She went right off the canvas and painted all over the frame and the easel and probably the wall, although they don't bring the wall in on those traveling exhibits. But this has a different kind of power. Do you do this yourself? How did you get that cracked paint effect?
Actually, it's Sharon who painted it. She started with a large sheet of paper, a travel poster, in fact. I'm sure she'd love to tell you how she got the paint to crack.
It's because I didn't know you shouldn't lay thick layers of oil paint on paper. It started to shrink and curl, and whenever I tried to straighten it...
Sorry I asked.
Maybe it can be fixed.
Poor Sharon, your arms, they're so uncontrolled.
They're always like that when she's excited.
Now don't cry, kid. You did one. You can do more. Now this one dude I know, his whole house burned down and he lost...
I have a feeling that I did something wrong, but I don't know what it is.
Well, I guess I did my harm for tonight. See you around. Thanks for inviting me, Tony.
Can you wait a second, Grover? I thought of some more things I wanted to ask about the car parts. You coming, Steve? I'm counting on you for a ride.
Oh shit, I thought of some things I wanted to ask him too.
I guess I'll just leave Lisa up there.
Don't worry, Maddie. She's so high she won't know where she slept.
It's really too bad about the accident.
Don't lose sleep over it.
I melt mine down after I finish them.
Yes, I suppose it's the same principle.
Too bad you didn't take a photograph.
isolated fragments were unified into a community, a federation, a union, but the unity was still fragile. Generations of isolated growth had left their scars. Outwardly unified, the community still bristled with resistance toward the launching and implementation of common projects.
Come on, Grover. A little sunshine won't hurt you.
Me and flowers is like icicles and ice cream. Tell me when you get to the poppies. Hey, my man, how's business?
I'm trying to finish that paper on non-hierarchic, demythologized forms of subversion. It's as boring as anything I typed at the bank.
I thought you looked them over before taking them on.
I figured I could have part of it typeset during the time I spent reading it. Listen to this. The whole notion of harmony and fulfillment, separated from our hypostatization and the form of systematization to the functionalization, became a purposeless purposiveness.
Don't knock it, man. That dude was fired from 3 universities for not being scholarly enough.
At least in the bank you could see the point, once you knew you were there. But this shit, oh hell, at least I can work on my own hours. How's that tax refund scheme going?
Still working on it. Give me 2 or 3 more weeks.
Where's the boiler repairman?
Who's that?
Your friend.
Oh, him. He couldn't make it, seeing as it's Sunday and his only day off.
But he can't come on a weekday because he works then.
6 days a week, that's what I mean. You can't expect a dude like that to work on his free day too, can you? Now don't get upset, Olympia. Actually, he taught me all he knew about boilers and then some. In fact, I knew a lot about them myself. Fixing them is the easiest thing in the world. All you really have to worry about is that the temperature of the water doesn't rise above 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's get to it. Where's this boiler located?
Grover, are you sure you've seen a boiler before?
I would have brought the boiler school diploma nailed above my bed if I'd known you'd...
I suppose you're right. There can't be that much to it. Why don't you go study it and I'll get the others?
Where's this thing at?
In the basement, Grover.
This one dude I knew had one of those things explode on him.
Can you come now, Dan?
I've got 5 pages left on this paper, and I've got...
Come on, everybody! Boiler repair time!
I didn't see Grover come with anyone.
His friend couldn't come, but Grover says he knows about boilers.
Good luck. Holler when you need us.
Isn't anyone else coming? Grover is already downstairs.
Grover knows about boilers?
Lisa!
Yes, Mommy?
When are you coming out?
Right away, Mommy.
You should come out too, Dan. It's such a beautiful day.
I'd rather get this done before getting my hands dirty.
You should see how Donna does it. She digs a separate hole for each seed.
Grass?
No, dummy. We're all planting flowers along the wall and the fence.
Dan, Ben, or somebody?
What is it?
Turn on the faucet.
Hey Ben, could you give the boiler crew a hand? I'm trying to get this thing typed.
Which faucet?
The hot one, Ben.
Are Leon and Lisa in the treehouse?
I think they're in your room watching TV.
Oh, damn. Leon, come outside. It's the first day of spring.
Just a second. We're coming.
What's that you're doing?
Boring paper I'd like to finish by tomorrow.
Busy as beavers, aren't we? At least I don't have a birthing today. Barry and Steve are trying to have a car rebuilt by tomorrow.
They've been spending 7 days a week in that garage.
I guess they both got money problems. Steve got fired. One splice too many, I guess. And Barry's saving up for his next trip. He keeps saying he's glad to have a base to come back to.
Does he mean us or the garage?
He means us, Dan. He's a generous guy. Where are those damn kids? Leon!
Tony?
What is it?
Leon wants me to ask what expletives deleted means.
Who the hell cares? Tell him to get his ass out here. We're planting flowers.
Have you ever thought of sabotaging that TV?
I've thought of it, but sometimes they show a program I'd like to see.
Ben!
Holy shit!
What's the matter?
Sounds like they're having fun.
Where's the central spigot?
The basement's flooded!
Oh no, is there anything I can do?
Shut the water off!
The oven is ruined.
Lisa, come down here this minute.
Leon!
We're drowning!
That Grover sure is a trip.
You're acting as if it were my fault.
We've been talking all week long about having the boiler repairman over on Sunday, and we were all going to take part so as to know what to do in case it ever broke down again.
Well, I've been looking forward to doing the planting for the past 3 weekends, and this is the first day it hasn't rained.
It's a question of priorities, Donna.
It's a question of getting the seeds into the ground before summer.
Are you going to plant the garden now?
Let her do it. I'm gonna have a drink.
Did you want all of us to learn how to flood the basement?
I didn't see either of you down there when this trouble started.
What happened?
Had a little accident.
Where's Philip?
Trying to salvage his oven.
Is anyone up there?
Oh, what do you want?
Try the hot water.
It works.
Well, it looks like we've got things under control.
What about the flood?
Steve found the drain. It was plugged up.
In your oven?
I don't actually know what the water does to it.
I guess that wasn't the right connection.
It's not your fault, Grover. Who would have known all the water would gush out as soon as...
I knew.
Well, fortunately, it was only water.
That's what I say. This one dude I knew had one of these things blow. I guess I told you that one. You know, Philip, I've been giving a careful look at that brochure you people made.
I'd better go up and put some dry socks on.
If you want my opinion, I don't think you should melt that shit down. It's good. What I like best are the caricatures of religious objects, like the one of God playing with his dinghy.
That's what I've been telling him, but he's so modest.
I'm serious. That shit could sell. Now, if you just built some shelves here, this room would make an ideal space for a display. Hand-molded pottery and shit like that.
Do you really think so?
Of course you'd need better light. Maybe we could take some of that vegetation back out to the country and more space.
Look, Grover, I think you misunderstand.
You people look like wet rags. We better get started. Dan, your brother is supposed to arrive in a half an hour.
Oh shit, I'll never finish this.
If you'll be planting the back later this afternoon, I'll try to come back.
I don't think Donna is up to any more planting today. How about tomorrow?
I thought Donna couldn't make it on a weekday.
Oh, that's right. What if we schedule it for next weekend?
Could you call Lisa, Dan?
Lisa!
The scars left by the environment of hostile and split individuals became open sores. The community closed in on itself, discouraged and demoralized. The fragile unity almost fell to pieces. Anarchist set in as the resistance to common projects hardened. Creative breakthroughs were no longer made. The period of the commune's growth seemed to be over.
It ought to go here.
Then here it goes. It's your show.
The greatest thrill is being involved in every part of it. Imagine having to just learn lines or just paint scenery. That would take all the fun out of it.
I can see why everyone's so eager to show you things, Sharon. You're so full of enthusiasm.
Steve has a crush on her.
Leon, don't!
Everyone can see it.
I haven't seen Steve so happy since I've known him.
I'm sorry. Steve's been so helpful. So has Philip. Everyone's been so wonderful. I never thought Steve would.
Don't be childish, Sharon. Steve and I are good friends, and we've always been. And we need each other less now than we ever did before. We both know so many other people now. I used to meet Steve in bars years ago when my husband took up with another woman.
That was Alex's mother, wasn't it?
Leon, I'll...
Not if you don't catch me.
Do you need my help setting up the puppets?
Not yet. We want to change some things when Lisa comes.
Sharon's been telling me how helpful you both are. Even you, Philip.
Sharon's a fast learner. It's like building a complete world with your own two hands. I'm doing things I never dreamed I'd be able to do. Me too. I fixed my car yesterday with Steve's help.
I only watched.
You, Philip?
It's a lot simpler than I thought.
Ben thinks we won't all fit in the kitchen and that sitting on the floor will be in the spirit of the meal.
What's he making? Dog biscuits and catnip?
We're preparing some Japanese specialties.
Steve, can you show me how this joint is supposed to fit? I wish we were doing all these things just for ourselves, especially the puppet show. Why does Grover have to bring people tonight? Grover said they were people who'd be highly sensitive about the kinds of things we're doing here.
And we all know that Grover's word is as reliable as inflated money.
I happen to be interested in finding out what other people think.
I couldn't care less.
I agree with Tony.
So do I. The puppet theater is ours, and it's only meant for us. I can't imagine what outsiders are going to see. Maybe that's true of the puppet theater. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking of your things. Somehow, I can never say that right.
Let's drop it. What's Olympia doing in the garden?
She told me she wanted to improve the soil.
But it's freezing out.
What was wrong with the garden before?
How should I know? She says if we wanted to grow our own food, we should do certain things to the soil.
Come on, Lisa, and you too, Sharon. We've got to change the faces of the two presidents.
Do you and Alec decide if we're going to erase them or cover them with paint?
Alec thinks we can't erase them.
You want to come with us, Roseanne?
I'll be right up. Steve, where does this dowel go? Oh, that's right. Those kids are out of their minds.
Really? In what way?
They're such a trip when they're together. If any of you think I contributed anything to the play, you'll be dead wrong. I can hardly keep track of my own parts, and Alec changes half the play every other day. He's probably changed it since I've been down here.
Olympia, Barry's on the phone. Ben, do you need me yet?
In about 10 minutes. I'm washing the vegetables.
Did you find it? Can you cut through it? Well, can you find a way to climb over it? Yes. Everything here is almost ready.
Aren't you going to join us with the preparations, Olympia?
I'm busy with preparations of my own, and you're a funny one to ask, Donna. The time when I was inside working on the boiler, you told me the garden was your priority.
I guess I'll go up and join the kids.
I'm sorry I asked.
You want to put up the shelves now?
If you don't mind, Steve.
Can I start putting my things in the finished shelf?
What was wrong with the garden before, Tony?
Nothing, Donna. It was beautiful.
Did you ever sit inside the arbor on a hot summer day and eat grapes right off the vine?
I guess I never found the time.
Sharon sure does enjoy those kids.
Ever since they started the puppet theater, they've been extremely creative.
No thanks to school.
What do you mean?
The imagination of an 8-year-old is unbounded if it's left to develop on its own and not stunted by repressive education and that idiotic television.
It so happens that Alec is an inveterate TV watcher, and he's well into his 3rd year in school.
But Leanne and Lisa aren't.
Many of the ideas are apparently Alec's.
Do you think he learned them in school? What schools produce are people like you, Philip.
Thank you.
You're not actually a good example, since the conditioning is breaking down. And you're not the only one whose conditioning is breaking down. I'll read you something.
If it's from the underground, you can skip it.
It's the campus paper. Ben brought it home yesterday. The biggest educator in town quit his job. Listen to this. Citing what he called the massive dehumanization which distinguishes this and every other university, the 57-year-old administrator said he could no longer justify a single day more at the helm of the state's 3rd largest university.
Let me see that.
He admitted that the university's real function is the socialization of individuals into unquestioning acceptance of the status quo.
The repressive power of the system rests on sold labor. This must be a bluff.
Who's bluffing, Philip? The only two of us who still sell their labor every single morning.
How often do I have to be reminded?
Are you and Donna.
And I'm almost convinced.
All the rest of us are finding it possible to get along by contributing as little as possible, and if possible, nothing at all.
Well, this place is really looking up. Ha, you've seen the gag perpetrated by the local hippies.
I thought so.
I'd better go help Ben.
Remember that tax scheme? This lawyer I know had all the details worked out, and then we were about to get the first check from the state.
And what happened?
It fell through. Our contact in the government fell with the rest of Nixon's crew, but I've got another scheme worked out which is almost as good.
Where are your guests, Grover?
They'll be here. Ah, Philip, you've been baking houses.
Maddie made those.
Philip watched me, but I shaped them myself.
The puppets are ready now, Philip. Oh, hi, Grover. Why do you have to bring people tonight?
We'd better get these shelves filled.
These aren't just ordinary people, Sharon. I've been telling them about the things we do around here, and they can't wait to see them. And speaking of those things, I don't see any of your new paintings around.
There aren't any. I've been spending all my time on the kids' puppet theater. That's closer to my life stream.
Aw, Sharon, I've been telling them how good you were. Self-taught artist, a genuine modern primitive or post-primitive.
I wouldn't have wanted people like that looking at my painting.
Get off it, Sharon. All of us want people looking at our stuff, and the more people, the better.
Are you also bringing culinary experts to sample my meal?
Ben, I never could understand.
I agree with Sharon. We've only just started to learn to share as if we matter to each other, without being creative geniuses entertaining a passive public.
What about your paper preaching to the masses of passive readers?
1,000 readers aren't a mass.
Sour grapes.
Hey, those shelves are out of sight. That's a great display, Ben, but it's not for us.
Damn, Grover. Next time you have a lead, check it out before sending someone out on it. Olympia, what should I do with this shit?
What happened? The price wasn't right?
I got it free, and it seems organic, alright, but Jesus, Grover, I'm rushing to get in on things that are happening over here. And the shit is located on the other side of a 6-foot barbed wire fence, with me and my wheelbarrow standing on the wrong side.
Ever heard of wire cutters, my man?
Sure, if you'd told me ahead of time. I filled the wheelbarrow by throwing shovelfuls through the fence and got the stuff all over me. I was sure I'd get caught, but I made such a mess on the sidewalk that people crossed the street and held their noses the other way.
Where is it?
Out front, but the driveway is all blocked up. We'll have to take it to the back tomorrow.
But I spent all day preparing to get it on the ground today.
We can't get through, Olympia.
Can't you bring it through here?
I guess so, but I'll need a hand.
Grover, couldn't you help?
I'm starting to feel the way Ben does.
About his paper?
About this display not being for us.
Don't set your shoe on the blanket, Grover. Oh my god!
Looks like a little accident.
Barry, you
If
bastard!
you'd waved your arms a second sooner, Sharon, you could have kept it from spilling.
Good, here they are, and not a second too soon.
This is it for me. Never again.